Born in the dusty streets of Douala, Cameroon, Samuel Eto'o began with nothing but talent, hunger and a ball. Raised in Nkon, he played barefoot, driven by a belief that he could reach the top. At 15, he made it to France. At 16, he signed for Real Madrid. But instead of a breakthrough, he was loaned out, overlooked and forgotten. Where most would have faded into irrelevance, Eto'o stood strong in the face of adversity. He forced his way into the spotlight at Mallorca, at Barcelona, at Inter Milan. He scored when it mattered, delivered trophies and shattered expectations. This is the story of how Samuel Eto'o became one of football's greatest strikers. Eto'o began his football journey at the Kadji Sports Academy in Douala, Cameroon. His talent started gaining national attention when he played for UCB Douala, a second division team, during the 1996 Cup of Cameroon. At just 16 years old, his potential stood out, catching the eye of European powerhouse Real Madrid, who signed him in 1997. However, he barely played for Madrid, managing just 3 appearances between 1997 and 2000. Rejection stung, especially from one of the biggest clubs in the world, but it also fueled him. It was Mallorca where Eto'o truly began to flourish. After a successful loan, Mallorca signed him permanently in 2000. Over the next 4 seasons, he scored 54 goals in 133 appearances. In the 2003 Copa del Rey final, Eto'o was electric, scoring twice in a 3-0 win over Recreativo de Huelva. It was Mallorca's first ever major trophy. He became their all-time top scorer and the team's heartbeat. His hunger, speed and predatory instincts made him one of the most feared strikers in Spain. In the summer of 2004, Barcelona signed Eto'o for €24 million in a 3-way deal involving Real Madrid. Madrid still owned 50% of his rights and they tried to block the move, but Eto'o insisted on joining Barcelona, eager to prove them wrong. His impact was immediate. In his debut season, he scored 25 goals in all competitions and helped Barcelona win La Liga. He quickly became a fan's favourite. He played with aggression, confidence and fire, never afraid to speak his mind. Eto'o was not just a goal scorer, he was a big game player, netting crucial goals in El Clásicos and title deciders. One of the most thrilling aspects of his early Barcelona years was his partnership with Ronaldinho. The Brazilian magician, known for his smile and samba style, found a perfect balance in Eto'o's sharp, direct approach. While Ronaldinho danced past defenders and created space, Eto'o was clinical in front of goal. Their chemistry on the pitch was electric, Ronaldinho assisting, Eto'o finishing, both feeding off each other's energy. Together, they led Barca to dominance, combining flair with ruthlessness. By the 2005-06 season, Eto'o reached new heights. He was La Liga's top scorer with 26 goals and won the Pichichi Trophy. More importantly, he delivered in Europe. In the Champions League final against Arsenal, Barca were 1-0 down when Eto'o equalised in the 76th minute. The match ended 2-1, Barcelona were champions of Europe again, and Eto'o was the hero. Alongside Ronaldinho, Deco and later a young Messi, Eto'o formed one of the most thrilling attacking lineups in Europe. He was named African Player of the Year 3 times consecutively between 2003 and 2005. But behind the success, friction began to rise. In 2008, Pep Guardiola took over as manager of Barcelona. His first move, declaring that Ronaldinho, Deco and Samuel Eto'o were no longer in his plans. Guardiola wanted to build a new team around young, disciplined stars, and Eto'o, with his commanding personality and blunt honesty, didn't fit. And whilst the other 2 left, Eto'o refused. He trained hard, scored goals in pre-season and forced Pep to keep him for 1 more year. The result, a season for the ages. In 2008-09, Eto'o formed a new partnership with Thierry Henry and Leo Messi. Together, they were unstoppable. Eto'o scored 36 goals in all competitions, including 30 in La Liga. He was instrumental in helping Barca secure an historic treble, La Liga, Copa del Rey and the Champions League. In the final against Manchester United, he scored the opening goal in the 10th minute, slicing past Vidic and beating Van der Sar. He became the first African player to score in 2 Champions League finals. Despite his brilliance, Guardiola never embraced Eto'o. Their relationship remained tense. Pep reportedly limited communication with Eto'o, and by the end of the season, he was pushed out. Barca traded him to Inter Milan in a swap deal for Zlatan Ibrahimovic, a move that shocked the football world. At Inter Milan, Eto'o found not just a new club, but a manager who believed in him completely, Jose Mourinho. Where Guardiola saw a misfit, Mourinho saw a leader. He saw a player willing to sacrifice everything for the team. Their bond was immediate. Mourinho didn't just rely on Eto'o's finishing, he reimagined his role. No longer just a central striker, Eto'o played as a wide forward, often deeper, contributing defensively, pressing opponents and providing space for teammates. It was the most selfless football of his career and perhaps the most complete. The 2009-10 season became legendary. Inter swept through Italy and Europe, winning Serie A, the Coppa Italia and the UEFA Champions League. Eto'o was critical in every competition, not always scoring the most, but always working the hardest. In the Champions League semi-final, Inter faced Barcelona. Inter, who played the majority of the second leg with 10 men, had to withstand wave after wave of Barca attack. But they held on to their first leg lead. Eto'o played a crucial role, and his disciplined performance helped Inter eliminate his former club and reach the final. In the final against Bayern Munich, Eto'o didn't find the net, but he was everywhere, tackling, covering, creating. It was tactical brilliance, and it showed his evolution into a more complete footballer. With that, Eto'o became the first player in history to win back-to-back trebles with 2 different clubs, an accolade that belongs to him and him alone. And he wasn't finished yet. In the following season, Eto'o scored 37 goals in all competitions. He led Inter to another Coppa Italia title and cemented his legacy as one of the game's most complete and selfless forwards. At Inter, Eto'o proved he wasn't just a star, he was a system, a mentality, a force. While Eto'o conquered Europe, he never turned his back on Cameroon. His relationship with the national team was passionate, turbulent and deeply personal. Eto'o made his debut at just 16 and soon became the heartbeat of the indomitable Lions. He scored 56 goals in 118 appearances, making him Cameroon's all-time top scorer. He led them to back-to-back Africa Cup of Nations titles in 2000 and 2002 and Olympic gold in 2000, a feat that brought pride and joy to an entire continent. At his peak, Eto'o carried Cameroon with the same intensity he brought to club football. He was captain, talisman and sometimes coach in all but name. His influence extended beyond goals. He mentored young players, demanded better organisation and spoke out against corruption within the National Federation. That honesty came with a cost. In 2011, Eto'o was handed an 8-month ban for boycotting a friendly match due to unpaid bonuses. But to many fans, it was just further proof that Eto'o stood for players, not officials. He was the face of a generation that demanded accountability and dignity. Despite the controversies, Eto'o's legacy in Cameroon is undeniable. His goals, his leadership and his passion lifted the nation to global relevance in football. And when he retired from international duty in 2014, it marked the end of an era. In 2021, he was elected president of the Cameroonian Football Federation, a full-circle moment for a man who never stopped fighting for his country. His mission now, to fix the system that failed so many and ensure the next Eto'o doesn't have to battle so hard just to be seen. Samuel Eto'o retired in 2019 after stints in Russia, England, Turkey and Qatar, but his legend was already sealed. He won 4 African Player of the Year awards and 3 UEFA Champions League, scored over 350 career goals and remains the highest scoring African in La Liga history. Most prominently, he's the only player to have won 2 trebles with 2 different teams. But Eto'o's legacy is more than just about trophies and goals. He broke the stereotype of the raw African player. He brought professionalism, leadership and elite finishing to every club he joined. He inspired a generation of African footballers to dream bigger. Famous African players like Didier Drogba, Yaya Toure and Sadio Mane have all acknowledged Eto'o's impact. Samuel Eto'o's story isn't just about football, it's about resilience, about refusing to be boxed in by expectations, about defying every obstacle and roaring louder each time he was doubted. He wasn't the media darling, he wasn't the brand face, but he was the Lion of Africa, the predator who became a king, and in the annals of football history, his roar will never be forgotten. If you enjoyed this story, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel. Let us know who your favourite footballer is in the comments below. See you in the next video.